Ah, weed. Mary Jane. The devil's lettuce. As an adult, I did not start living until I put down the weed. And I'm serious about that. This is how my weed story began. I'm from Oregon. Weed is pretty much anywhere and everywhere. It wasn't so much before it got legalized, but it was still out there. I first started smoking weed when I was 17 years old, and after I graduated high school, I moved to college. I graduated when I was 17. I went from smoking, maybe once in a while on the weekend, to all of a sudden we had a big bong in the middle of our living room. It became very accessible to me, and so for that reason, I went from being a casual smoker to like all the time. The thing is, I didn't just smoke weed, right? It quickly kind of engulfed my life, but it happened steadily and slowly to the point that I didn't even realize what was happening. Nobody wants to admit that weed can become an addiction, but for certain individuals like myself, it absolutely can. I personally like smoking sativas. In my mind, how I justified it was something that would give me a clear mind, something that would give me a creativity spark, something where I could smoke and then go to the gym. So that's what I did. When I go to the gym, gotta smoke. Gonna play basketball, gonna smoke. Gonna go see a movie, gonna smoke. Gonna go hang out with friends, gotta smoke. And before I knew it, it came to the point where I was high so often that me not being high was the minority of my time, right? As soon as I feel it coming down, I'm smoking weed. Believe it or not, this carried on for years. I'm talking a perpetual state of being stoned from the time I was 17 to the time I was about 25 years old. I knew I had a problem when there was times where I wanted to stop.
No. No.
But at the drop of a hat, somebody comes around me with weed and they offer, there's no way I'm saying no, I'm smoking. The other reason I knew is because when I didn't smoke, there was a little voice in the back of my head or a feeling in the back of my head that was constantly like, gotta get that, gotta get that, gotta get that. That's how you know you have a problem. And it's not just limited to weed. That's how you know you're addicted to anything. Video games, vaping, social media. When you get that itch, that urge, that's how you know it's a problem. I stopped smoking weed just over 2 years ago at this point. And the reason it started for me was because I wanted to find a job and I realized I do not want to find the job of my dreams, an amazing opportunity, and the one thing that blows it for me is that I couldn't put down old Mary Jane herself to where I'm overqualified or I'm qualified for this job and I get this job and then, hey, by the way, buddy, you gotta take a drug test. And I can't pass the stinking drug test. I didn't want that to be me, so I didn't smoke weed. Eventually I got a job. I hated that job. It was door-to-door sales. And if you've ever done door-to-door sales, understand, I know it's not easy, right? Every day you're getting hyped up by your manager, drink the Kool-Aid, you know what I mean? Get out there, get these sales, right? Ultimately to make them money. So I hated that job, but I needed to provide for my family. So again, I didn't want to smoke weed because I knew I was going to try to find a job. A year passed there, no smoking weed because I got to stay clean in case a good opportunity comes around. So I continued. And just like that, I found out that there's always a reason why I shouldn't have it in my system and I shouldn't be smoking. But that's not the only thing I learned, right? I learned something very valuable about smoking weed. Quitting weed was the greatest thing I ever did. Quitting weed was a productivity hack. Quitting weed is an anxiety hack. Some people just have anxiety, but for myself, it was always induced by something, and that something was weed. I always felt anxious. I always had social anxiety, and I thought that was normal for me. But when I quit smoking weed, I realized doing things is actually easy. I have ADHD. So doing things, especially when you're high, it becomes a monumental task to do stuff like do the dishes, take out the garbage, mow the lawn. It becomes a monumental task. When I quit smoking weed, I realized how easy it truly is to do these things, right? No more anxiety. I almost never feel anxiety in my life, ever, in day to day. Very rarely do I have anxiety. When I smoked weed, it was every moment of every day, basically. What I realized about quitting weed, all you're doing to yourself when you smoke weed is taking life and upping the difficulty by 10. Making things that don't need to be hard so much harder. And listen, I know it's not easy to hear, but if you're in the same position that I was, I am speaking to your soul right now, and deep down, you know I'm right. You know I'm right. Why do we do this to ourselves? All right, I'm gonna give you a few tips to successfully put down weed and really up the progress in your life. But first, if you haven't already, please drop a like on this video and also subscribe to the channel, right? We're in this self-mastery journey together, and I am right there with you. One of the biggest tips I can give you when it comes to quitting weed or anything, vaping, whatever it might be, is you're going to get that urge. You're going to get that urge. Your brain's like, yo, we gotta go get that weed. We gotta go get that weed, man. Don't do it, okay? Don't do it. And how you're not gonna do it? Tip number 1, when you get the urge, distract yourself with something productive. You have a business, do something towards that. You like drawing, do something towards that. You wanna play video games, do that. Anything to take your mind off it and get that dopamine fix somewhere else. It's gonna help you tremendously. Second tip, do not surround yourself with people that smoke all the time. And I'm not saying, hey, ditch your stoner friends, because odds are you guys are more compatible on a level besides just smoking. Most of my friends smoke weed, and they still do to this day. However, I try not to be around them when they're doing that. And once you go long enough, it gets to the point where you don't have the urge to smoke. Matter of fact, I actually love the way it smells, but I don't have the urge to smoke anymore. So again, limit yourself to surrounding yourself with people that smoke weed. Third tip, do not count the days. Do not count the days. No, 1 day since I smoked, 2 days since I smoked, 3 days since I smoked, 4 days since none of that. All right? You just maybe keep track of the month that you quit smoking, and that's all you need. Do not keep track, because you're going to get too caught up on the numbers. It's not about that. Just push through. Remember, moderation is key. For my people out there right now that are hearing this and it just makes you too uncomfortable to conceive the thought of smoking, or quitting smoking, I should say, then you don't have to. But the most important thing is, if you want to upgrade your life, you're serious about taking your life to the next level, and you haven't tried to quit weed, please do yourself a favor and just do it. And if you absolutely cannot bring yourself to do that, I think it's a great self-discipline lesson too. If you can't bring yourself to do that, the key is moderation. Moderation. No more smoking weed to be high, because that's what you need. Smoking needs to be a treat. Smoking needs to be well-deserved. You don't get to smoke until you put in the work somewhere else. Honestly, it's the carrot at the end of the progress stick. You reward yourself with it at the end of the day even, okay? Don't start your day out high. Don't finish second half of your day high. At the end of the day, after you've kicked ass, then you can smoke. If you absolutely must, but I say quit. You can do it, I believe in you. Now, last but not least, I am challenging anybody, all my subscribers watching this video right now. I'm challenging you to 30 days. Start at 30 days and then see if you can take it further if you can. And if you're serious about it, take my challenge. Don't smoke weed for 30 days. If you smoke, I'm sure most of you don't. If you smoke, quit for 30 days. Drop in the comments that you're trying this challenge, okay? Let me know how it goes. I want to check in on you. All right, you got this. Tell me how your life has upgraded and leveled up. But comment on this video that you're going to get in there, and I believe in you. You got this.